that lovers have no price to pay. It sounds so simple, so naive. The truth is love is challenging. See, love is just a precious gift, but it's not free, you gotta work for it. Love has demands, pressures, and pain, but that's the price of love. It may cost your life, demand sacrifice, the tears and sweat, but there's no regret. Forgets the past, it will always last for eternity. That's the price of love. It bears and believes all things, it will never change.
All right, Reverend Bullock, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
All right, please provide your Detroit story. What's your Detroit story about to be about?
My Detroit story is about NWA and Coleman Young.
Okay, what happened with NWA and Coleman Young?
I don't remember I don't remember how old I was when this happened, but I remember it happened. NWA was coming to Cobo Hall to do a big concert, and this is back, We Want Easy, Straight Outta Compton. I mean, they were big. It was a new gangster rap movement, and I remember Coleman Young basically telling them they were not welcome in the city of Detroit. It was this big battle of words, verbal assaults. NWA on the one hand saying we're coming, Coleman Young saying don't come. And I thought thinking back on that now, as we get ready to celebrate however many years of NWA, the movies coming out, to see the evolution of Ice Cube, the evolution of Dr. Dre, the evolution of some of, hip hop and gangster rap. I mean, and to see, the evolution of Detroit, first white mayor in 40 years, Coleman Young legacy still there, but not as strong, the labor movement being destroyed. I mean, it's interesting to kind of fast forward and see Detroit now as opposed to how Detroit was back then. Another Detroit story, I'll give you two, because this one is real close to mine. Another Detroit story is when Nelson Mandela came to Tiger Stadium. I was there. I remember Chaos and Maestro rapped. I remember Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony on the podium. I remember Nelson Mandela, saying that brother, far too many of you are dying. Mother, far too many of you are crying. I just remember that Tiger Stadium was packed. It was that celebration tour of Nelson Mandela across the United States of America. He came to Detroit. It was so powerful, so inspiring. And you just knew it was something special about the city of Detroit.
Thank you. Now, leading up to that, you're definitely in the books, especially when it talks about Black history and historians. What did you know about Nelson Mandela before that?
Oh, I just knew that, he's president of the ANC, and that he'd been in prison, was out of prison, was the first Black president, first African president of South Africa. At that time it was 84, so I was quite young. So I didn't know a whole lot. I've come to learn more about him now. I actually had a chance to meet him 4 years ago in South Africa, so that was great as well.
When you met him, what was it for?
I was with Reverend Jesse Jackson. We were on a tour in South Africa. We went to Johannesburg and to Durban and had a chance to go by the Nelson Mandela Foundation and met Nelson Mandela and his grandson and the United States Soccer World Cup championship team.
Okay, how do you feel that legacy of what Nelson dealt with impacts what's happening right now in Detroit?
I think it's very similar. I think economic apartheid still exists. I think the color lines still exist, and we must be vigilant and fight. Nelson Mandela in his youth, they were armed. They had guns. They were practicing self-defense tactics. So they didn't have the same kind of nonviolent resistance program of Dr. Martin Luther King, but they had the same agenda: freedom and equality and justice. Nelson Mandela in his later years was more nonviolent and diplomatic. So I think Detroit, we're in that tension. Is it Malcolm X and Dr. King? Is it ballot or the bullet? Is it public policy, or is it no holds bars, the revolution will not be televised? We're trying to figure out what strategy works, but the goal is the same. We want equity and equality, both in our economics, our education, and our social and cultural lives.
Can you give a little bit about Ortheia Barnes to you?
Ortheia Barnes, I mean, amazing. You know, R.I.P. Definitely still love her music, love her passion, her ministry. Greatest thing about Ortheia Barnes is that Mama Barnes was everybody's mother. She loved everybody. You could tell she loved you. You could feel it. She was so talented, so gifted, even with the strokes and the health challenges, she kept pressing on. Story that I want to share about her is that when I was very young, I was in my teenage years, I sat next to Ortheia Barnes at a banquet, and she wrote on a napkin to me a note that God had given her something to tell me, and it said, "You will be a great change agent for your community," something like that. I never will forget that. She wrote it on a napkin, passed it to me. I read it and I thanked her. And so she was a great supporter, great encourager. Definitely she will be missed, and hopefully the event will honor her.
What's your music like?
I mean, my music is like me. It's eclectic. You know, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, some gospel, some hip hop, some rap, singing, a little spoken word. I think people are gonna enjoy it. It's soulful. You know, sometimes it can be a little dark. You know, because we go through those places as well. But you know, it's real, raw, authentic music that speaks to the human experience.
And what's your performance like?
My performance is great. I mean, it's like me preaching on steroids.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.